Hello, hello, hello. Let me ask you this. What questions do you ask and answer to find and select the note taking app that serves you? I said serves you. I didn't say what's the best one. I didn't say what's the least expensive one. I didn't say what's the fanciest one. I said the one that serves you. Well, if you haven't asked that question, we're going to ask it tonight, but I'm not only just going to ask it, I'm going to dig in with four parts or four answers that you need to consider as you select a note taking app. Why? Why? I'm leaning into this why because we always want to know, well, why? So we're going to say why. Why do you want to ask these questions? Why do you want to get these answers as you're intentionally selecting a note taking app? Not that you're using what's available or what someone else told you to use, but you're making a definite decision about which app or sometimes apps will work for you. Welcome to Purposeful Productivity. This is where purpose driven leaders are served, and I share strategies, tips, workflows that reduce the friction in your productivity system. We all have one. It's just a matter of refining it and honing it so that we get the maximum out of the 1,440 minutes we have every day when we wake up in the morning. So glad to have you here in the building with me. And I want to welcome you and give you a great time tonight. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. And I'm going to see who's out here in the building with us. I want to say if you are uh, listening or watching in the background because maybe you're helping children with schoolwork, thank you for being here and welcome to the live tribe. So excited to have you here. And I know you're a core part of the team, and I appreciate you so very much. We do have some folks who are in the building sharing and caring, and I want to welcome you and recognize you right now. So let's go and see who's out there. Well, I want to say hello to our friend 24-hour boss. So glad to have you here live. You often comment afterwards and leave comments of encouragement, and I appreciate you and I thank you for being a part of the community. Of course, we have our moderator, Frank Jackson, in the building with us this evening. Thank you, Frank, for being here. By the way, Frank is in the lounge, and maybe I'll share a little bit more about that. Stop waving at me. And he's probably going to talk to me too. But love to have some more folks come and join us there, and you'll hear more about that later. And my good friend, Tech Troublemaker, you're here as always, serving and caring. And this is something that, and yeah, you're doing your family DoorDash. I get it. I get it. And designer extraordinaire, the emotional CEO, is here with us this evening saying, Happy Friday, Live Tribe. Yes, happy Friday, Live Tribe. So glad to have you all with us. We're going to have a little fun tonight. I'm going to challenge you to do some thinking on your own, and you may want to grab a piece of paper and an ink pen or pencil and start writing answers down to the questions that are going to be asked of you tonight, because those answers that are for you are really that they're for you. And today we kick off a new month, and this month we're going to be working through the world of note taking apps. You see, note taking is a central and core activity in our lives. We all take notes for various purposes. We take different notes based on the role we are filling at any given moment. If we're filling a role in a nonprofit, that's one type of note, and we're going to grab into that. If we're making a note in our home, that's a different type of note. But today, I want to walk you through these four questions to start your journey. Especially if you have never intentionally made a decision about this and you've sort of just used whatever came along, because sometimes that's how I started. That's how I started. I started using whatever was there, and I quickly found out that was not going to work in my life. And so I want you to have the benefit of learning. And so we've got some other folks here, and then I'm going to jump right into the first one. Hello, hello, Ravens Talk with Yolanda. Yolanda, so glad to see you again today. I know you and I've had conversations around this topic, so please chime in. Roy, I know you have some thoughts around it. Please chime in. Share your experiences, share some of the things that you've considered as you made your decisions with the rest of the community. And of course, that songbird out there, David Hunt, so glad to have you in the building. And yes, Apron Diva, homemaking with Denise. Denise Jordan is here with us in the building. Well, I am so glad that this is something that's going to be useful to you and glad to have you here in the building with me. And David is giving you all moderator salute. Absolutely. Thank you, David. That is moving forward. We are making that a whole thing out here in this moderator land. So I'm glad to have you with us. So let's just get into number one, because this really kicks off. I want to share a little bit of why or how I came to this point. Like I said, when I started using note taking apps, I just started using whatever was available. I very quickly found out I was struggling and notes were in different apps and that wasn't working. And I didn't really know what I needed, or I didn't take the time to answer a few simple questions. And as I dug in personally and started to answering these questions, it became clear to me what my note taking environment needed to look like, all of the things that I used it for. So, the first question that I'm going to ask is, what types of notes I need to capture? That was like, what do I need to get right now? Because they're not all equal, right? They are different. And I'm going to give you some examples from my own life. And then you who are in the building and able to chat, please chime in some examples from your life. So, one type of note is just quick notes. Quick notes, a quick idea, a quick phone number, a quick, just something quick. I just needed to get it out of my head and put it someplace, and then I'll come back to it. That's one type of note, but that's not the only type of note. The another type of note for me is when I'm organizing, for example, for a video or a speech or presentation, and I'm gathering my ideas, my brainstorm, my directions I want to go, what my topic is going to be. I do this every week for this live stream. I just start jotting down my thoughts about what I want to cover, what I can pull from my life, from my experience, from what I've taught others. Those are different types of notes. It's not a script, but it's just organizing my thoughts and getting them out. That's a whole different thing than just a quick note where I need to write a phone number down or a code down or a reference number down or anything like that. Other types of notes that I find myself taking, it's when I'm doing research for any type of project. Maybe in my case, I'm doing research on something that's working or going on in the healthcare field. Or maybe I'm doing research on something with generative AI. For those who don't know, I work specifically with generative AI on a daily basis in large enterprises. So maybe I'm having to do some research there. Maybe I'm having to do research because I'm about to give a speech or do a presentation or minister, and I need to get my ideas down. I need to do some research and make sure that I'm looking for the authoritative information, and I just want to capture that. So, what type of notes do you need to capture? And if you've not thought about that intentionally, put a one in the comments. If you've done this work, put a two in the comments. I want to know where you sit, not for me, but for you. Don't be passive, because this was really key for me to start identifying what my needs are. So, identifying what your needs are and not being passive, thinking, I'm just going to use this application. Knowing the main types of tasks that you need to provide or you want to execute in your note taking is key. It will guide you toward making the choice that is right, that will serve you. Again, that will serve you. And that is question number one. If you have not done that work, I would encourage you, grab a piece of paper. Don't even think about an app right now. Just grab a notebook, piece of paper, anything that you have, and just start writing down what are all of the different ways and all of the scenarios you need to take notes in. Think through your entire all the areas of your life, your family, your business, your job, your content creation, all of it, right? Your ministry, your church, your spiritual life, your health, your neighbors, community service that you do, that homeowners association that you support. Write down what are all those different types of notes you need to take down. Because that list will sometimes it will surprise you. It surprised me when I looked at it. It was kind of long. So that's task number one. And question number one to answer for yourself. And it's not answering it for me. It's not answering it for anybody else. It's just simply answering it for you. Once you know that, then you can start to get into the next question and answer it. And that is, how easy do I need this app to be able to put information in is one part, but then to be able to find the information after it's in there? That's a whole different way of thinking. It's one thing to be able to capture a bunch of notes. It's a completely different thing to be able to find those notes when you need them, when you want to get back to them. How do you surface them and make sure you can see them when you need them? If the look of the app is ugly and you don't like using it, it's not comfortable, not going to help you. If the app is not easy for you to navigate, not going to help you because you're not going to use it. You're not going to enjoy it. So, how easy does this need to be on both sides? That means you don't want to have to waste time figuring out how to use it. If it's something that you can just intuitively pick up and use, there are some wonderful apps out there. I'm not going to name them, but they're not intuitive to use. You nearly need to get a degree to learn how to use the note taking app. That was not going to be my story. I could not do it. I knew I wouldn't do it. And I'm capable, but I knew I wouldn't. So for me, easy to get in a multitude of ways. Let me explain. Sometimes I need to capture a note in voice to text. I need to speak it and have the note go into the app. Sometimes I need to take a picture of something I hand wrote and that note go into the app. Sometimes I'm on a tablet, an iPad in my case, and I need to be able to type the note into the app. Sometimes I'm at a computer. Sometimes I'm on my phone. Sometimes it's an email that I need to be able to get into the Notes app. Sometimes it is a part of a web page that I need to get into an app. So all of those had to work for me. That may not be what you need. What I'm going to encourage you to do is, again, that same sheet of paper where you were writing is, what are all of the ways you need to be able to capture your notes? Is it just simply handwriting? Is it sometimes speech? Sometimes taking a picture of something? Sometimes is it a document that you need to get into your note-taking app and be able to find it again? Write that list down for yourself so that you can see it and you're not thinking, yeah, I'm using this app and if I need to speak it, I can't do it. Or I need to speak it, but I've got to be at this computer at this time with this scenario. Those are all points of friction if it's not easy for you to use. If you have thought through this question and you have answered them for yourself, put a 1 in the comment. If you haven't, put a 2 in the comment. Let me know. I want to know. Maybe, you may be doing this perfectly and be farther along than I was. But as I started thinking about all the ways I had to get into get information into my note-taking app. I surprised myself. And as I thought about it, it started to narrow down the choices that I would make. So, easy to use. And the other side of that is being able to find that stuff once I had it in there, right? I said, I said two parts. How easy is it to be able to add to it? And how easy is it to be able to find it once it's in there? The app that I actually use multiple apps, but the core of my note-taking system, it's extremely easy for me to find anything, no matter which type of note I take. I can find it within seconds in that note-taking app. That was really important to me because I've tried others and I had to get the right words and the right clicks. And I was like, this is too much. I'm not doing this. It was too much of a cognitive load or too much friction for me. Okay, so that's question number 2 for you to answer. So we got a couple of folks who are putting some comments in. So let's go back and see what y'all saying. Roy says he's 1.25. Okay, you got to be different. All right. And Frank says, 1, you've thought about this and you've made these decisions on the types of notes that you've taken. Okay, great. Awesome. Ravens Talk with Yolanda says a 1. Awesome. And I want to go back because I want to welcome a new moderator to the channel. Miss Inanea, she's got the blue wrench. Thank you so much for saying yes to me and for joining this band that supports this channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Congratulations for joining the team. Moderator, salute to you. All right. Let's see, anybody else put anything in? So we've got 2 questions. You know the different types of notes you need to take. You now know uh, how easy it needs to be and the different ways you need to get notes captured. And you know that you need to be able to find them, how easy or hard that needs to be for you, right? Then the next question you're going to answer is, where do I use this? What are the devices do I use the notes taking app on? Now, the default answer is I need to be able to use it on all devices. Is that really true for you? I'll give you an example from me. In my corporate work, I can't use the note taking app on every device that I have because of the nature of my work. So when I answer that question, in that environment, for the types of notes that I take and the type of information that I take, I do need them to be digital, but I cannot use them on all my devices. I cannot have them on all my devices because of the nature of the work that I do. So really ask yourself, what are the devices that you will use the app on? Going back to number 1, what kind of notes you need to take. In my outside of that corporate enterprise environment, I need all those notes to be on my phone, on my iPad, and on every computer that I have. 2 different use cases or needs in that, where do I need to use these notes or where do I need these notes to sync to? So you may have that if you work in or you have a volunteer work or nonprofit work that you do where the content, the information that you're capturing has to be secured off, your answer is going to be different. The second thing is you may be in an environment where you don't get to take a mobile device into a building. So what then? What do I really need to have access to? Do I need to have access to some or all of my notes offline when I'm not connected to the internet? That synchronization makes a big difference because it also uh, plays into being able to find the notes when you need them. So, again, hey, Michael Fleming, so glad to have you in the building with us. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. M3 Live Tribe showing up. Thank you so much. Um, Yellow and green for making this happen. All right, Inanea. Um, and Denise, you've not really thought about it. You just grab a notebook and then have to. Woo. Yes, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Grab a notebook, grab a piece of paper, grab a notepad, and write it down. And that is leads back to knowing the second question: how easy does it have to be for me able to find the information again? Because even if you grab a notebook, do you make time to get it into a digital system so that you can retrieve it? And I wish I could show you this because I 2 days ago I have a paper notebook. I can show you the outside. Let me actually, it's right here. This is the little notebook I use for my corporate work. I don't need a very big one. It's just a little notebook. I don't put anything personal in here. This is all corporate information because again, the nature of the work that I do in corporate America, I don't mix it with anything else. So I know this book is strictly stuff for corporate. But what I do, even when I take these notes in here, I take a picture of that page and I put it in my corporate note-taking app. Because the corporate note-taking app that I use, I can put pictures and it will read the handwritten information in the picture. It can find it. So when I go to search for it, even my terrible handwriting, that app will find that note for me. So it makes it easy even when I handwrite it, take a picture of it and throw it in there. I don't retype this stuff. I just take a picture and throw it in there. I used to retype it and then I figured out, why am I retyping this when I can take a picture? So I got smarter. But this is an example of when I use paper and then I can grab it later in my note-taking app. So I make it easy for me to find it, easy for me to get it in there, and still easy for me to use something that my brain resonates with, and that is grabbing a pen, one of my favorite pens, note paper that I like to use, and just sitting writing. So if you don't, Denise says, I do not. I'm scrounging around trying to figure out where the notes are. Um, so yes, Denise, just get your phone or your tablet, your iPad, whatever you got. Your phone is probably the default, and just take a picture of it and put it in the note taking app that you will use, and it will be fine. Use one if you want some recommendations. Hit me up and I'll give you some recommendations offline. But use one that will read those pictures and find the content in the picture that you took. And there are note taking apps that will do that and they do it really well. Okay. And I'm gonna pause here and come back to Yolanda and put this up and say, Yolanda, I know you're gonna have to scoot because you've got a show starting in about 6 minutes. Um, you may have dropped already, but thank you for coming through. And I'm gonna hop over and see you in a few minutes. And Denise, you say the picture taking was revolutionary for me when I started to use that more because it stopped me from letting stuff pile up, letting these notes pile up, and then I had to figure out. So at least once a week, if I haven't, I'll go through and take those pictures and store them. And then I don't have to keep the notebook permanently because I've got the notes and I know where to find them, and they all go into um, the same application. Yolanda, young lady, you got a show in 5 minutes. You got a show in 5 minutes. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I don't take you for granted, and I don't take any of you for granted who show up and comment and pour back into the community. So thank you all for being here. The last question that I'm going to challenge you to ask for yourself in this note-taking world, and we're going to dig into more details as the weeks go on here in September, is this is about collaboration. We think about notes for ourselves, but who do I need to share my notes with or any of my notes with? If you work with somebody, and I'm using the word work both in the paid and unpaid sense. If you are collaborating or supporting someone, example, the moderators to the channel, I need to share information with them because they don't have it if I don't share it with them. So, who do I need to collaborate with or share the notes with makes a difference in the note taking tool that I use? Because it needs to be something that everybody can get to and get to easily, right? They need to, if you work with others, use something that others can use and use it so that they can get information in real time as well. So, thinking about yourself, but also thinking about others. Make a list of who those people are. Make a list of what type of information has to be shared with them and what type of information they need to share with you. It's two-way. You sharing and them sharing back together. That decision point will help you choose a notes app that will serve both. I'll give you an example. If you're working with someone and they don't use an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac, using Apple Notes, while it's a fabulous program, won't work. It'll work for you, but it won't work for the person who doesn't use an Apple device. If you use a complicated notes app that takes someone going through a degree to figure out how to navigate it, it'll work for you, but it may not work for the person you need to collaborate with. If you use a notes app that you know how to navigate and find the pictures, but you can't type a word in and the word is in the picture and it won't come up because you have to look for it, it'll work for you. It won't work for the person that you need to collaborate with. So while these are four questions that you think of from your perspective, if there's another human anywhere for any purpose that you need to collaborate with, whether it's work, professional, family, doctor, whoever, answer these questions with that thought in mind. And hey, Gretchen, so glad to see you loving the stories, young lady. And that studio you building, I applaud you. I would be scared. I'd probably be cut my finger off by now or something. Just saying. I am not handyman, nothing. So those are four questions. Question number one, the answer for yourself. What types of notes do I need to capture? Every type, in every form. The second one is, how easy do I need it to be able to capture the note? And how easy do I need it to be to find it after I've captured it? Because if you've got thousands of notes and you can't find any of them when you need them, does you no good. You might as well have not taken it. Ask me how I know. Been there, done that, got that t-shirt. What are the devices you will use when you need to take notes? Where do the notes need to work for you? Where do they need to synchronize to? Where do they need to show up? And in this, do you need to access them when you're not connected to the internet? In other words, when you're offline. And the last one is, who do I want or need to share these notes with? Because the first three questions are applicable to the fourth question. The answer is applicable to the fourth question because you need to answer those three in relationship to the fourth one. If this has made sense to you, let me know. And I'm going to say this: if you have questions, please put your questions in the comments because I want to answer them. Just so you know, there are some links in the description. In the description, there are two things like how to get in touch with me, how to connect, how to get information on the website, how to join the newsletter. And then, of course, if you have not subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Come back and learn as we go through this month of September with learning how to work with a notes app that will truly work for you. It will serve you and your purpose. It won't serve somebody else. It won't be too difficult for you. It'll work for you. And if you have a question, I know there's a delay, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get your questions into the chat, and then I will answer them. But I appreciate each and every one of you: Roy, Yolanda, Micah, Denise. So glad to have you all. Gretchen, Frank, Inanea, um, Emotional CEO. So glad to have you all here with me. I'm toying with doing just a plain old Q&A, not coming with anything other than answering your questions. If you think that would be interesting, let me know. And if it's something that you would like to do, like just bring your questions and we spend a half an hour just answering questions about productivity, whatever part of your productivity system you're curious about or you got a question about. If that's something you want to do, let me know. Put it in the comment and I'll be glad to set that up and we'll work through it together. It'll be fun because I'll learn more that way. So I think I have given you an opportunity to ask questions. And Gretchen, thank you for saying thank you. I appreciate it so much. And I'm going to encourage, if you all have not put the word equip in chat, and your channel should come up and everybody can join you there and come and see what kind of content you're putting out weekly. I know some of you more than weekly, and I'm going to hop over and visit Yolanda because she's teaching me football, y'all. She's teaching me. She's going to get me there. She's going to get me there. She's teaching me football little by little. I'm not the fastest learner in the world, but I will learn. Eventually I will learn it. So she's teaching and I'm being a good student. And so I am grateful that each of you showed up today. I am looking forward to going through this month with you and just diving into this core part of your productivity system. And I'm just trying to see if the Nightbot is working. I saw you put it in, Gretchen, and I didn't see it work. So now I need to go figure out what it did. Thank you for testing that because it did it. It just took a minute. Okay, great. So yeah, awesome. Everybody go visit Gretchen. She tells great stories. Denise, I'm going to encourage you to take one step, answer those questions, but start doing, if you do nothing else, use your phone to take pictures of your handwritten notes and throw them in an application that you currently use, and we'll work from there. That way you don't lose them. And like you said, you're not running around looking for them when you need to find them and need that information again. Okay. So that's going to be it tonight, gang. And I will see you guys next Friday at the same time. And if you, when you jump off of here, come over and talk football. Yeah, the Ravens did not quite get across the finish line last night, but we're going to keep plugging at that. The Ravens flock is going to do its thing. What is this Nightbot? Denise threw a question in there. So, Denise, it is I'm gonna describe it this way. David Hunt helped me set it up. But you can set up different commands in this thing. It's a free tool. I have to look I think it's nightbot.com, but I have to look up the oh my goodness. Whew, my head just hurt thinking of that Gretchen 700 videos. Um and you can set up commands to do for it to do certain take actions on your YouTube channel and put in information. I wanted only one thing, and I just wanted it so that people who visit the channel who are committed to being here to be able to share their channel and have folks understand and see the content that's being created. So if you want no more information, shoot me an email. You know how to reach me, and we can talk about it. And Gretchen says she spent time today assigning 700 plus videos into playlists. Yes, yikes. Yikes is right. Woo. I applaud you, young lady. I applaud you for getting that done. But that organization is going to help you down the road. You had a reason for doing it. So, and by Roy, you had to drop. And I understand. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. And I will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend, everybody.